There is way too much going on right now. There is so much happening. It's wildly overwhelming. Can I get my self-promotion out of the way? www.pablo.show is here. I'm so excited to be at Meadowlark. It's my first day in Dan's seat, sitting with Amin. And it's just so hard to explain how I feel about it. But I think the best way is to do this.
Burn the tape. How about burn the boats? Heat and fire.
Let's go!
Jeremy Taché.
Let's go!
Jeremy Taché is
Let's go!
What? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh,
Let's go!
What's wrong with that?
Let's go!
We're going to have Jake Plummer at some point to celebrate 420. We're going to talk about trash talk inflation. And we're going to play this sound.
Go!
A lot. Over.
Let's go!
And over.
Let's go!
Can we just say how Cortez always wins? How is the focus now on Jer Bear
Cortez?
saying "Let's go cringy" when Cortez, the mayor of Propaganda Island or whatever the hell he is, just gets to skate on this?
Let's go!
Cortez left the room. Did you guys notice that? He's not even here anymore.
Go!
He burned the boat.
He actually decided to
Go!
He got on a boat.
Go!
There's a Carnival Cruise Liner on fire out there. Is that what that's from?
You know what my favorite game is that I like to play with my grandma?
Go!
Things you hear in Miami traffic.
Go!
Soccer celebrations.
Go!
Do not collect 200.
Go!
So,
Oscar Robertson's nickname.
Go! Go!
the first half of Mike Golick Jr.'s nickname?
Go!
As I said, a lot going on.
Go!
Hey, should I when I'm in the Olympics, should I go for bronze or should I go for silver? What should I go for?
Go!
Hey, what does Andrew Dice Clay say at the end of a joke?
Go!
What's it like when you remember only the first half of that Mortal Kombat villain's name?
Go!
The one with the
Oh,
arms.
Ro. Yeah, go. Yeah, that one.
This is getting pretty embarrassing. I think I gotta.
No, you can't do that. We're not letting him do that.
funny.
Number one.
Not
It's
funny.
just we can't let him use the sound to his own advantage.
Number
Yeah,
two.
you're right.
Number two. Karl-Anthony Towns. Where'd that come from? All of a sudden his voice.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is just how my normal voice sounds.
Jess, do you know about this? That Karl-Anthony
No.
Towns.
Can we find the sound? Because he did it talking to our friend Israel Gutierrez post-game, right, Amin?
Yes. So Karl-Anthony Towns has been exposed as a voice catfisher. Depending on different situations, his voice wildly changes. And I don't mean changes in the sense of like code switching, right? I'm speaking amongst friends versus I'm speaking in a professional
business
environment.
versus,
We're
hanging
not
out.
I'm talking about like the tone, the pitch, the tenor of his voice.
Like Elizabeth Holmes.
I don't know this about
Carl-Anthony Holmes.
People hypothesize that she purposely makes her voice lower because it helped her like sell Theranos to investors and get more
Really?
Series
That's
A funding.
good limited fake Elizabeth Holmes.
How do you have that in your locker?
You've had that the entire time?
That is the hypothesis about her, and that she wears the Steve Jobs turtleneck because she doesn't want to have to think about what she puts on every day.
Let's go!
Yeah.
And now she's in jail.
A new limited fake.
Let's go!
She's in jail, which means she can't just.
Oh.
Go!
Tom Brady's podcast?
Let's go!
Too much fun. We're just,
But
joshing around.
That's good times.
Good times.
I never
Let's
want.
go!
Yeah, getting the timing down. Can we play that Karl-Anthony Towns sound that Amin was referring to?
I don't have that Karl-Anthony
very good.
Towns
That's
sound,
a
and
shame.
also that's disseminating because it's exclusive to the broadcast.
that's a shame.
But we do have different Karl-Anthony Towns sound that I'd like to play because Karl-Anthony Towns is this weird personality in sports, and people just have
Go!
at him all the time because
Mike, can I interrupt you for a second? I actually haven't reported to prison yet.
but Mike Huntley Jr. was talking about being a professional a veteran guy, and it's not a time for video games. And he said this in a press conference. And Karl-Anthony Towns, see if you can find out where he makes an appearance in this perfect comedic timing clip.
What vets do, guys who've won championships, like that's the kind of attention to detail you got to have. You can't just go home and play video games. Like this is the time to do a little extra work. What's good?
Watch some film first.
Mike off the microphone saying, let's watch the film first. So if you couldn't pick it up quite there, Karl-Anthony Towns barges into this press conference, and Mike Conley Jr. is talking about being a professional and saying how you shouldn't play video games, barges in saying, we playing Call of Duty tonight or what, Mike? And people have obviously said that that's embarrassing for Karl-Anthony Towns, but it's also pretty embarrassing for Mike Conley Jr.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing is like I've given this sage advice to the young guys to let them know what's expected here, and in the middle of that you hear play Call of Duty, and he had to like a parent, he had to be like, okay, after you eat your vegetables, exactly.
I'm so sick of people having a
Go!
at playing video games as some like immoral, classless behavior. Like, come on, everyone's got their thing. Mine's Sudoku and the crossword. People can play video games, and it doesn't make you a worse person.
Does that count as a video game, playing a crossword?
No, but it's a stupid thing that I do on my phone that like distracts me from doing actual things that might be more quote unquote virtuous, right?
I mean,
Wait, are you turning anti-crosswordism into virtue singling?
I'm saying it's the opposite. I'm saying it's like when people's hobby is like video games. I've died on this hill many times on this show. Specifically when we talk about Kyler Murray, right? When people are like, "Oh, my hobby is golf," everyone's like, "Wow, like he's a great golfer. Oh, Steph Curry's a great golfer." But then when their hobby is like Call of Duty, we're like, "Oh, what a loser."
Actually, I think Jess is making a tremendous point. What's the difference between playing Call of Duty and just effing around on TikTok all day? It's the same level of distraction.
You got Mike Conley effing around on TikTok after a game? Like that?
Yeah, what if that's his vice
I got
instead?
Mike Conley a big Sudoku guy as well.
I got him as a guy who plays
Go!
fish. See,
I'm beginning to hate this device. I wanted to
Go!
away.
Mike, if you don't like it, you can just
Go!
To the penalty box.
It gets sadder every time, though.
It does.
does.
It somehow gets even more.
You know what it
depressing.
actually sounds like when you're in college and you're going out with your roommates and we're supposed to leave at a certain time because we want to get to the bar because it's free drinks before 10 o'clock. And everyone's
Cabs
not
are
like
here.
everyone's messing around. Come on, guys!
Let's go!
That's exactly what it sounds
It's like your friend who fell asleep when everybody decided to not go out.
Let's go!
And then he's like, guys, I'm ready. Let's
go!
No, it's the best man at a bachelor party who planned everything and knows that the whole group's going to be late for their brunch resi, so he's
Let's
trying to get them out the door.
But he's like the beta in the group dynamic. He's like afraid to like actually tell people what to do. So
Let's
he's trying to use
go!
enthusiasm as a proxy for direction.
Why are you guys describing my actual life?
It's it's the group of friends that goes to Vegas and says it's going to be a movie, and they do their first shot before leaving the room. And right after the shot's done, you're like,
Let's go!
All in suits.
You are, Jeremy, it's going to be a movie guy, right?
He is the guy who's definitely like calibrating how many buttons to unbutton in the mirror and then saying,
Let's go!
No, Jeremy is it's going to be the movie rendition of In the Heights tonight guy.
Let's go!
Again, these are all just accurate. I don't know. I don't know why we're doing this.
Two Americas.
they went to the pool. He got some girl's number. They came back to the room. They're getting ready. And then she texted him back. It was great meeting you.
Let's go!
Incidentally, this is also what it sounds like when David Sampson is being chased by the person in his dream. And as a young child, he has to say to himself,
Let's go!
That's not nice.
I know. We're gonna
I'm back on the bit.
we're gonna all have to identify, in fairness to David Sampson, what we did with him in the local hour, our own traumas, our own red shoes. Obviously, Jeremy's is now this.
Let's go!
Jess is The Wrong Side, which has been broadcast on youtube.com/LeBatard and Friends this entire time.
See it right now.
Yeah, but we're all gonna have to think hard as we talk about.
No, they got to go see it right
Oh
now.
yeah,
Get on
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, absolutely. It's right now. It's right now. Very much right now.
Let's
My
go.
Eventually.
So Karl Towns is somebody who we should have sympathy for because on paper,
You're just skipping the Anthony, right? You just go Karl Towns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Do you think he has to earn the Anthony back? Is that the implication?
I'm
here?
going to just say this right now. Too many hyphens in the NBA. Enough.
There's so many.
Enough
hyphens.
hyphens. Good take. Enough hyphens. And hyphens, and I'll tell you the other thing I don't like. Hey, Xavier Tillman, what's it say on the back of his jersey?
Tillman.
No, it says Tillman Sr. And I'm like, look, unless your son is playing in the league or about to play in the league, you don't need a senior out there. Sorry, Marcus Morris.
Mohamed Sanu did the same thing. He had Sanu Sr.
Basically, it's a look at me Louis of like, oh, look at me, I got a kid, I got a son. That's dumb, man. Like, the only time you should have senior on your jersey if there's any threat of a junior being in the league.
Put congrats on the sex on the back of your jersey.
There you go.
Anyone can have a kid. Come on. That's not impressive.
Let's go.
Karl-Anthony Towns.
There you go.
Is somebody who we should have sympathy for because his life has been actually a tragic movie, right?
Yeah,
Pandemic, all that stuff, family passing away.
Mm-hmm.
You still sound like you're smiling throughout all of this.
He is. That's because he is.
On YouTube.com/LeBatard and Friends.
Exactly.
Let's change
Find
the
out
tone.
if I'm. I don't mean to smile talk through Karl-Anthony Towns' family's tragedy.
Now it sounds worse. You're incapable
I
of.
can't
You're
not do it.
incapable of a
He's
somber
Guys,
tone.
I can't.
You're
Hold on.
stifling.
This is your red shoes. You are incapable of meeting the moment.
I am trying to meet the moment. And to the moment I say,
Let's go.
I'm so sorry to Karl-Anthony Towns.
But not to Jeremy.
You're sorry to Karl-Anthony Towns.
It's just I want Jeremy for the rest of the show to do what Karl-Anthony Towns has been doing, which is Mamba mentality cosplay. I want the bass in his voice. I want him to say cliches that are inspiring to morons.
Jeremy, this segment was a movie.
Let's go.
So as we're traumatizing Fart Bear, and we are talking about David Sampson's red shoes, and we're talking about the things that we are visiting upon Karl-Anthony Towns via Mike Conley and via people who are taking the opposite of Jess Matana's position, that video games should be bullied out of the NBA. It is worth pointing out that it's really hard now to calibrate when trash talk rises to the level of actually mattering. And I thought about this when we were listening to Dillon Brooks and his duel against LeBron James. Can we play the post-game sound from the Grizzlies snuffing out the Lakers and then Dillon Brooks showing up and saying this?
There are some people, Lakers are making that run, they get it to 14. You and LeBron have that exchange. There are people out there that say maybe you shouldn't do that with one of the better players in the game. What were you thinking?
I don't care. He's old. You know what I mean? I was waiting for that. I was expecting him to do that game 4, game 5. He wanted to say something when I got my 4th foul. He should have been saying that earlier on. But, you know, I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40.
Hell yeah.
I pride myself on, you know, what I do is defense and taking on any challenge that's on the board. If it's LeBron, if it's AD, if it's whoever. And I play my heart out. So, you know, he knows that. You know, most of the NBA knows that. And I know my guys know that. And I try to get them on that same type of time every time we touch that floor.
Dillon Brooks, like this entire show today, enjoying poking bears. But I now have to wonder. I have to wonder whether this moves us and whether the visuals on this are actually really important to understanding how this should come across. Because, Amin, how would you describe how Dillon Brooks was looking as we were listening to him say all of that?
Again, if you are on youtube.com/LeBatard and Friends, you saw the video. You saw what he looked like. And he looked like the minion from Biff's gang in Back to the Future. the one with the 3D glasses.
Is there a mohawk in there?
No,
Like-
mohawk. I think was that was Griff's gang.
That's right.
That was his grandson.
But kind of like Dillon Brooks does look like a bully from the future, is what he's trying to cosplay as. He's wearing a flannel kimono shirt.
Yeah.
It was described as a flannel shirt in the post-game reporting. I mean, this is not.
It's not cut like a flannel
shirt.
It's flannel material, but it's not cut.
Kind of
like
like a
flannel.
blazer almost.
His sunglasses look like they weigh 10 pounds.
They are so large, and the thickness, the girth on the frame is extreme. And also, he's not wearing a shirt underneath the flannel kimono.
We're kind of zoomed in a little tight as well. We missed the chain that has his
Chain is
initials on there.
significant.
Yeah, let's remove lower third to get
let's see
the
if we-
full experience.
Can we get that look?
Yeah.
to
No,
let-
well, we can't do that. But what is 40 the?
We can't do that. Come on,
Is 40
guys.
the tipping point?
Let's go.
On being able to respect somebody.
Well, I mean, look, that happened fast for us, right? Like the idea that LeBron would reach a place where the guy just dismisses him as old, right? That LeBron is the corny old guy, basically, and Dillon Brooks is young and cool. And for all things young and cool, I like to go to Tony as our correspondent on Young and Cool. Tony.
Let's go!
Tony?
I whispered something into Amin's ear as the Dillon Brooks was being played, the video, and I whispered to him, and I was like, hey, I kind of like Dillon Brooks. There's something about him that I like. He's the heel. He knows what he's doing.
There are two people in this room younger than Tony. Although one of them is
Let's go! You also watch Columbo, so that kind of knocks you off for a second.
Gen Z loves Columbo.
He's
I
got
don't know
a
what
great
that
point
is.
about the Columbo.
Columbo
Gen
shit
Z
sucks.
loves
Anyways,
Columbo.
Sudoku, crosswords, and Columbo. Jess
Jess-
Matana is
87 years old.
Aging right
Classic
before our
32-year-old take, Tony.
She
31.
loves Columbo.
Oh! But there's something about Dillon Brooks. He's like the wrestling heel. He comes in with the vest, no
But
shirt.
that's the thing, Tony. But that's the thing.
But I like that.
But everybody is so. Dillon Brooks came into prominence this season, right? I mean, because he was sparring with Draymond Green, and so I imagine that this week in particular, Dillon Brooks is feeling himself. His chest is literally and figuratively out. He is somebody who has been doing, per Draymond Green's assessment, essentially Draymond Green karaoke. Wrestling heel karaoke. And my question is whether this happens so deliberately and so often now that it's just harder to move me as someone who's like the kid hanging on the chain link fence after school going like, oh, ooh. Like, am I really feeling that way when I hear Dillon Brooks call LeBron James old? I feel like you got to become stronger than that, man.
I think we are in an era where between him, Patrick Beverly, there seems to be this proliferation of guys who talk that people don't necessarily fear or even respect, right? This isn't like Gary Payton and Larry Bird and or even
Love.
What's up?
Larry Legend.
Yeah. Thanks.
So glad Stugotz is just lying on the floor in the background.
We should have all those as drops, by the way. Just have them sit in the
I
studio
mean,
one
to
day.
anticipate the glove is kind of difficult.
Big library there on all the sports people's.
That's true. It is an endless supply. But yeah, man, like
Speaking of an endless supply, Patrick Beverly, Dillon Brooks, go
Pat
down
Bev.
the list. Go down the list. But you're right. I mean, like for me, if you're gonna like talk on LeBron James, make fun of him for not finishing books.
Yeah.
Make fun of him for being actually a corny guy on Instagram. Make fun of him for the stuff that actually cuts a little closer to the bone as opposed to you're old. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, not only that,
2023.
He says, if you don't drop 40 on me, I don't respect you. So wait, 37 is like
39?
But this is the inflation I'm talking about, right? There's the offensive inflation of the NBA in the modern era where 50 is the new 40 and 40 is the new 30, to the point that Mike was raising. Is that the threshold? Maybe it is now. But then there is clearly trash talk inflation. Like, it's everywhere, and it's really cheap and easy, and it's throwing off the economy of people who make content because now it's like, oh my God, someone spit into the wind. Someone tugged on Superman's cape, and it's like, well, everybody's kind of doing that. Now I half expect Dillon Brooks to launch a podcast at Meadowlark.
But
we are
I'll go half of
interested.
them.
Yeah, we're interested.
Yeah?
Let's
Come
go!
on, let's get it. No, it is interesting but it's bigger than basketball, right? It is something that is born out of the social media age, right? Because once upon a time, if someone said something and somebody said something back, people would say, "What have you done?" Right? There's always been that retort, like, "Shut up, you haven't done anything, you don't get to talk." But because of the democratization of talk, but via the social media, where people can get at LeBron directly, not just a joke on the internet, but like a direct message right to him that he's going to see. And people, because there are more of those people than there are of the elites, people celebrate. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, So now that culture is bleeding over into
the real physical locker rooms,
Right.
the games themselves. And by the way, for this reason, I mean, I don't know if LeBron James also, I believe, called Dillon Brooks in game a bum ass, or at least that was the lip reading, right?
Yeah.
So maybe LeBron is personally offended. I, though, come at this from the perspective of somebody who is just sifting through all of this stuff. And I'm like, I think Dillon Brooks, like, this is where, who was it? It was Kyle Kuzma and Spencer Dinwiddie, right?
Yeah.
We called him Spencer Din.
Yeah, it's the wit on that one.
A 6-part tweet that also involved him making fun of Spencer Dinwiddie's crypto contract.
Yeah. That was
I'm
good.
like, that was the lead. He buried the lead.
Yeah.
That should have been number 1, not number 6. This is where actual writers, I think, would, if you're gonna be the guy making insults now on the internet where everybody in this flattened world is accessible, like, you gotta come stronger, Dillon Brooks. I'm sorry, man.
You thought you graded. What do you grade it? A through F scale.
That was like a C-.
C-.
So are you just saying this because you're like a similar age to LeBron, so you just don't think it's funny because it's personally offensive to you?
I'm 37 and loving it.
Let's go!
I like that.
It feels
I
so
want.
old.
I want the and loving it clip now.
Yeah.
And loving it. I
Please
feel like
don't do that.
That could be the new. Let's go.
Yeah, video team, let's get
Do
on
I
it.
have powers in Dan's
Come on,
chair?
Jeremy.
For me?
Do I have powers in Dan's chair to prevent that from happening?
No, but you do have your own SSX board, yeah.
Yeah, you have that.
You think Dan prevents himself from being embarrassed on social media just by being Dan?
Let's go!
Yeah, you're gonna
Great,
want to
that's-
skip past
yeah.
it because
Wrong
Miami.
segment.
Yeah.
Can I just read what the
Next page.
tiles say at the top here on this stream
Yes.
deck?
What do they
Yes,
say?
please.
Fascist.
Let's go!
That was me pressing fascist before. This is
Crypto-fascist,
This is
yeah.
Joe. Do you guys know what Joe is if I press
Yes.
Croyo.
it? Okay, I learned how to stop it soon, which is good.
Yeah.
Then it's Ponzi, crypto, Nazi. Could have used that in the local hour.
Again.
That's Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, again.
Oh, this is okay.
It's a
this
very
is
Billy
Miami
Corbin
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
toggle button on the right if you want to toggle to another.
There's an arrow.
Oh, it's digital. I didn't know that. I thought it was like
Oh
written
yeah,
out.
check this out, dude.
There's a lot of goodies in the new studio we're
Oh
learning.
my God! Look at that.
So many goodies. It makes me feel a little.
Oh yeah.
Gassy?
How about? Oh, what is this one? Oh yeah.
Oh, great sound.
I love it.
Oh, this is good. This is bad. Dan is now officially hating the show, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's not.
He's
great.
not listening.
No,
No,
he's watching.
Yes,
He is definitely listening.
He doesn't know how to
Listening.
watch the show.
Yeah. Please don't let this become the show.
Oh, no.
Elevate the discourse.
He dropped a
So the point though is that when it comes to trash talk, it takes a lot to cut through.
You have to. Yeah, you've got to come with something that is.
Or I guess you're a person who never, or by occupation, you're not supposed to talk trash.
What
And then
occupation is
suddenly
that?
you do. I mean, like if you're a ref.
I feel.
If
well,
you're a ref, you shouldn't be. I mean,
Oh,
like
the
that would be
refs talk-
surprising.
The refs talk.
The refs do talk. And there was actually a pretty big story in the NBA this year about a ref talking shit to a player. So much so that that ref got disciplined and then proceeded to not ref that player again for the rest of the season. until tonight. I'll tell you who that ref is and what player it was after the break.
Let's go!
I'm also 37 and loving it.
Hi. This is for the youtube.com/LeBatard and Friends audience. Don't watch the point when I say that.
So, Pablo, we were talking about trash talk inflation. It's everywhere. People are doing it. Some people shouldn't be doing it or are doing it. Like, for instance, NBA official Tony Brothers.
So the idea that there are some people for whom this is still risque.
This is
for
taboo.
whom to say something that coming out of the mouth of a player would feel like, okay, like we
Right.
hear this a lot. But for them, it's genuinely a cultural taboo.
You can't have it. It is not acceptable for an official to talk trash. And yet, Tony Brothers, in a game he was officiating in which the Dallas Mavericks were playing in November of 2022, called Spencer Dinwiddie, and I quote, a BAMF, and he didn't use the initials. Like
A big angry
mofo?
mofo.
Yeah, like something to that.
Isn't that a national park?
Is that a children's book?
So he called him that. He was reprimanded by the league. He got dealt with, so to speak. But since that date, November 4th, 2022, Tony Brothers has not officiated another Spencer Dinwiddie game. Now, Spencer Dinwiddie got traded from the Mavericks to the Nets. Yet, somehow, he's avoided Tony Brothers every single time. There are 36 playoff officials. And by the way, we go into all this in depth on Basketball Illuminati, the podcast that helps you keep your third eye open.
Basketball Illuminati, Basketball Illuminati, Basketball Illuminati.
There you go. Say it 3 times. Keep your third eye open. There are 36 officials around the league who are in the playoffs now.
And these are like the best of the best. This
best
is the
of the best.
reward. People should appreciate that if you get into this pool of 36, you have won your regular season.
You are the creme de la creme. You get the extra playoff bonus money. Like, this is extra money for them, and it's very prestigious to do these. And obviously, as the rounds go on, less and less refs make it to the next, final round.
The refs are quietly in a postseason tournament of their own.
Pretty much, yeah. So, of the 36, 35 of them have done at least 2 Spencer Dinwiddie games, including Brett Barnaky, who's done 7. Tony Brothers has done 0. Right? So
not coincidental is what the suggestion
could
is.
be coincidental. So on Basketball Illuminati, we talked to an actual real-life stats professor and asked him, how random is this? How could this be just chance? And he did the math, and the math he came up with was there's a 0.78% chance that this was a total random thing for this guy over and over again to just conveniently miss Spencer Dinwiddie. You say maybe, hey, I mean, he's been reffing games, but maybe Dinwiddie was off that night and vice versa. Well, we went and looked into that. 39 instances where Tony Brothers reffed the same night Spencer Dinwiddie played. And all 39 were missed, including a night in March where the Brooklyn Nets were playing at home, but Tony Brothers was reffing a Knicks game in Manhattan. So you see, all of these things are incredibly fishy, right? Like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just connecting dots here. This is my favorite part. We record the episode. We drop the episode on Wednesday, April 19th. On Thursday, April 20th, shout out to 420, the Sixers play the Nets. And the league released the ref assignments for today. And do you know who is the lead official on Sixers Nets?
Tony Brothers.
You got it, buddy.
Wait, so hold on. Can we get some fanfare like Meadowlark has?
Let's go!
Okay, not that one. Not the other fanfare. Meadowlark Media has officially changed the trajectory of the NBA postseason. Is what this is saying to everybody with great statistical clarity. Thank you.
There it is. Oh yeah.
But no, I mean, but for real though, like what people should appreciate about the NBA is that as a league, they have the biggest ears.
Yes, they do.
They actually listen. We can all recall, I think, people who've done NBA reporting, phone calls from the league office about something you may have said on TV, on a podcast, and you're like, oh, so you guys are actually listening to what's being said. Part A. Part B.
Part A.
Okay, this version of the character who said that I'm loving it. Yeah, oh, God.
Whoa, where did that come from?
I am not. I'm 37 and loving it.
It goes better with the point.
I'm 37 and loving it.
Rodney Harrison, what number are you?
I'm 37.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it. My part B, after my part A, is that the league knows that this is something that they did because of the taboo. They have validated the taboo and have now realized that they have overcorrected. And my favorite subplot of the whole, like, Sabonis.
I love subplots. Like my favorite David Fincher movie.
7. I just know what's in this box, and it's this sound. 7. Over and over again. And loving it. The point is, that they are overcorrecting. And my favorite thing about the whole Sabonis, Draymond Green thing, which you talked about yesterday, and this is that the NBA likes to style itself a criminal justice system.
Who was your favorite Danette on the Dan Patrick Show? Was it Mick?
Loving.
No, but that was my favorite character in Superbad, Mick.
Loving. Who was the person in that landmark Supreme Court case that was versus Virginia?
I'm going to need a history
Highfalutin.
lesson.
Highfalutin.
Just press the space bar.
I'm just going to turn the sound into a history test. It was Loving v. Virginia, 1967 landmark civil rights case.
Virginia's for lovers.
That one hasn't been overturned yet.
What's your favorite Stephen King novel?
Loving v. Virginia, by the way, was about interracial marriage.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry's playing like
trying to talk to you about the love I have for my wife as validated by the actual criminal justice system, and you're making it seem like I'm not actually.
He's still
loving it.
He's still smiling. You know why? Because he's
loving it. We need to stop this now.
Oh, it's not so fun when the shoe's on the other foot, huh, Jeremy?
The red shoes
when the
on
tiny
the
red
the
shoe.
red shoe's on the other foot.
Loving it. Okay. My point, though, is that the criminal justice system of the NBA likes to pretend like it is the Supreme Court.
Yes.
But what they are doing is listening to podcasts, putting a finger in the wind that they've licked, and saying, all right, seems like we may have gone a little too far on this one, which is literally their reaction to every disciplinary decision, including referee assignments.
Yeah, and it's by the way, they'll deny it. They'll deny it, but we've had other stories that we've done on Basketball Illuminati that they vehemently deny, but their behavior speaks louder than their statements, right? Like the actions indicate.
And behavior speaking louder than statements is my issue with trash talk inflation. It's my issue with the whole thing. Like, and by the way, I just want to say, as a Meadowlark
After
employee,
the break.
Okay, come on.
And by the way,
come on.
After the
okay,
break.
maybe I sound a little like that sometimes. These are my red shoes. This is my red shoe.
Karl-Anthony Towns had a really depressing childhood.
How is Jess somehow also limited fake Elizabeth Holmes and worse limited fake me?
I had a really traumatic childhood too. My dad was fired by Enron.
Mike, as a Meadowlark employee, I've come to appreciate the ways in which, also in this case, actions speak louder than words. And something that I've noticed via the actions of everybody around me is that this company is different. I called you up to talk about my job, and you were like, sorry, I'm getting a tattoo right now.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of tattoos lately, and I was in a Zoom meeting during one of my tattoo sessions. I didn't bail on that one.
Did you mute it when the buzz was
Yeah,
happening?
yeah, I was muting, and then when it was my time to speak, there would just be the ambient sound of the
Wait, hold on,
needle.
let me get farther right.
Amin making the sound of the terror alert phone and also this.
Yeah, I do sounds now.
And loving it. The point is, Mike, what tattoo did you get?
That one, when you called me, I was getting the Miami-Dade one. That was this one.
Mike,
YouTube.com/LeBatard and friends.
hold
See what Mike is pulling.
Yeah, expose it. There you go. Now, Mike, while you're exposing yourself for the camera, I just want to ask you, you started getting tattoos fairly late in life, and now it's been an explosion of tattoos.
You don't really ever see somebody with just one tattoo.
But why what took you so long, and then what's kind of been the post-tattoo life?
Why are you eating the Pringles of body alterations?
Well, I do force myself. Up until now, I had been forcing myself in between every tattoo to wait a year just to make sure that it wasn't a phase. But now that I have north of 7, I think I have 8 pieces now.
Jeez, man.
Pieces. I also like how pieces are the term of art. Apologies.
Yeah. So now that I have 8 pieces, I'm pretty much a tattoo guy for life. So now I'm not waiting as long in between.
If you have one piece, you're kind of a tattoo guy for life because they don't come off.
Right, but my first one was a 305 one that I had, and I couldn't even hide that one discreetly. But for the most part, if I dress up, you don't see any of my tattoos, and that's like the one rule. My wife likes my tattoos. I really wanted to get one on my neck.
Would you say that
and that's
she's
like
actually...
She's actually...
And loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, after the break...
Oh, I hate this.
After the break, coming up after the break, I will close a thread on a tattoo artist that sold $100 from me.
Welcome.
We have had a case closed.
I hate
But
this.
first, ZipRecruiter.
This is Alan
I
Thicke.
don't
This
even
is
know what
Alan
he
Thicke.
said.
It's just Alan Thicke. Rest in power.